Hey guys, and this is the very first episode of Code Way Too Easy. Anyway, my name is Jimmy Espana, and happy you guys to see this first video. So let me break it down, what you're going to get yourself into. Coding is actually, the channel says it's way too easy, and that's my goal, is to present to you what coding is, so you can learn about it, get interested in it, and make a career for yourself, or become an entrepreneur, or just realize different ways of thinking about different problems. So that's the purpose of this channel. We're going to go ahead and just jump right into it, our first lesson. So let me go ahead and going to share my screen with you. All right, perfect. So you'll be seeing my screen, and so what is coding? Well, coding in its simplest form is a way of providing instructions to a computer to carry out something. So let's go back. What is a computer? What is an electronic device? What it does? What does it really do? All it really does is it executes steps, instructions that you give it. So with coding, that's what we're doing. We're telling the computer, do this, do that, step one, step two. So that's essentially what it is. Coding is, and it's really simple. And there's a lot of stigma, like it's complicated, it's just for nerds. No, it's not. If you see my videos, you're going to see how easy it is. So let's go ahead and just bring up this notepad. So computers are not the most clever of them all. They just take instructions. So if you have code and you say step one, the computer's going to look at your code. It's going to step one. Save this information on my storage, right? On my storage. So you're telling the computer that the first step it should do is save whatever that information is to the storage on itself. Then open up a web browser, right? So you can see these are just, then navigate to Google for search for soccer blogs. All right, so you see this is easy sequential steps. Step one, we're going to save some type of information to the desktop, to the computer storage. We are going to then tell the computer to open up a browser. Then we're going to take that browser and go to Google. And when you're at Google, step four, go ahead and search the keywords soccer blogs. All right, so that's essentially what you're doing with coding. You're telling the computer what to do. So let's go ahead and jump into let me see. Let's go ahead and bring out the command prompt. You may become very familiar with this. So let's see, MS Paint. So I'm going to give you an illustration. We're going to jump right into the very first thing you're going to learn in any programming language, and I will make an emphasis. It doesn't matter the programming language. It's just a tool. Programming language is a tool. So I'm going to show you guys a variety of different programming language and how to do different things. And let's not worry about, oh, it's done this way, it's done that way. I'm going to show you the main concepts of programming or coding, and you can go from there. So the first thing is the following. So let's go ahead and see. So variables. What is a variable? So a variable is very handy in coding or in programming or in computer science, whatever you want to call it, software engineering. A variable is like a container. So we have a container, like a box here. I'm going to try my best to create a box here, like a cardboard box. All right, perfect. So this is a variable out on your computer memory, and we can give that variable a name. Let's call it A, for example. All right, so A is the name of this variable, and inside here we can insert something of value. Say we want to store the number 100. So store the number 100 is right here. So we can take this value 100 and we can put it into our little container and store that there. So inside this little box, we'll have the 100 value, and we have an associated name with this variable. And in this case, so we have the value, and this is in this box, little box container here is variable A, right? So, and essentially it looks something like this. The value or variable A equals 100. And that's all it is, guys. It really is that simple. It really is, that's it. So we're storing a value to this variable. We can also store other things. We can create another variable called variable B, and we can assign the value like a piece of text. So we can normally denote it with double quotes, and we can say hello, right? So this variable or container B has a value stored inside it, and it is the piece of text known as hello. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into and do some code actually. So let's go to Google and let's just use Python as an example. So let's do, actually, we can do Java, but let's do Python. It's one of the more easiest language to start off with. And we're going to go ahead and show you guys this concept of storing variables, values to a variable, and like it's a container, and then we can use that variable for something to do later on. So let's go ahead and create a variable. Let's call the variable, my name is Jimmy, so I'm going to call my variable Jimmy. And it's going to have the value, let's give it the value 99.99, all right? So that's our first step in this program. We're telling the computer, create a variable called Jimmy and assign the value 900.99, I mean 99.99, right? So let's go ahead. That's great. So we told the computer to do that, but now let's have the computer actually output that information to this black screen here, this terminal window, so we can see that effectively it is working. So in Python, like in some other languages, there's something called a print statement, a print command, a print function. So we can type print in. This site is very cool. I'll put a link in the video, but you can start practicing some of your coding this way. You can go ahead and reference. You can do the open and close parentheses. And inside the open and close parentheses, you're going to mention the variable that you want to output or print to the screen, and that's it. So this is a program that has 2 lines of code. It has created a variable called Jimmy. It assigned the value 99.99, and then that's the first step. And then the second thing that it does, it outputs the value of our variable Jimmy to the screen. So let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. So the program has finished executing, and you can see that it outputted that information. That's great. Awesome. Just really quickly, again, these videos are going to be short for the most part. I just want to give you guys the main ideas. We can create another variable. We can call it variable C, and we can give it the value 2. We can also create another variable, call it variable Y, and we can give it the value 1. And we can act upon these variables. So we can create a new variable, and we're going to call it result. And the result is going to be equal to the summation, adding the variable C to the variable Y. And as you would expect, this value is 2 here. This value is 1. So 2 plus 1 should be 3. Let's see if the computer is indeed doing what we tell it to do. So we're going to print that information, result. We're going to go ahead and print our variable result. So when we run this code, it's going to do the same thing that we did initially. Then it's going to create 2 new variables with 2 different values. It's going to do a summation of those variables together, and then it's going to output the result to the screen. So let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. And that's effectively what we expected. We wanted to see the 99.99, and we wanted to see the value of the result of 2 plus 1, right? So that's it, guys. Short and simple. That's what you can do in all different programming language. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen, but that's it, guys. Pretty much that's it. Again, this is code way too easy, and this is going to be one of many more videos. Thank you for joining. Consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye. God bless.